Jack. He slaves away 40 hours a week at a job he hates, has no savings, and to feel better at the end of every week he goes out and parties. In his free time he scrolls social media and swipes Tinder chasing the next hit of easy dopamine. This is Chad. He has his own business and reinvests all of his profits into building his dream life. During his free time, he builds connections and hits the gym. Instead of chasing women, he lets them chase him. Ask yourself, and be honest, which one are you? For most people, it'll be somewhere between the two. So if you want to become more like Chad, listen up. I'm a multi-millionaire businessman, and today I'm going to share the full 6-step guide that you can use to get ahead of most people this year. Most people won't even reach the end of this video, let alone take action. So if you manage to actually listen to all these points, you'll be at a huge advantage. Step 1, become insanely competitive. I don't buy into the saying, it's the taking part that matters. Our education system is mostly to blame for this thinking, as it's failed to prepare today's youth for the realities of the world. The only reason to take part should be to ultimately win. Just think about it. If you got a friend to do your maths homework because he was top of the class, you'd be punished for cheating. But in life, if you got a numbers guy to help you in your business, that's called hiring a financial officer, and that's applauded. So the education system has got things backwards. But not only that, social media is making the problem even worse. Instagram is allowing everyday people to see into the lives of the 1%. What was once a very simple...
Someone said, where this guy is not a Chad, look at him. This guy could buy your bitch. That's what you need to understand. You could be a grandpa Chad, for all you know. He probably slayed more poon than you ever have in your life. You don't know, man. It's hard to tell on a surface level. Don't judge.
Path has now become extremely complicated. Back in my day, it was all about leaving school to...
Yeah, grandpa, pull up in that Ferrari and tell your bitch, get in. See what she says.
Get a job, which would allow me to buy a car, helping me to attract a woman, and after that, of course, buying a house and finally starting a family. Now, I veered off the path quite a lot as I chose to quit my job and start a business, but that was much rarer in my day. Nowadays, if a man isn't successful, then he's pretty much invisible. I mean, 20% of the people on Tinder get 80% of the matches. This is also leading to rapidly shrinking motherhood in the West, with women twice as likely to not have kids in their 40s compared to the generation before. The popularity of people like Jordan Peterson, Hamza and Tate further prove this point, as they're just saying what a lot of people are thinking. I know I've gone on a bit of a rant here, but the world is honestly harder than ever. If you're serious about getting ahead of everyone else, then you're going to have to get good at playing the game of life on this harder level. Step 2, become hyper obsessive.
That's a very good point. Learn about economy, finances, taxes? No. You need to memorize all the genders we made up in the last decade. That's all you need to know, my dear NPC. Perfectly.
Another phrase I absolutely hate is work-life balance. There can be no work-life balance.
I 100% believe in this one. This work-life balance thing is bullshit. If you want to get ahead in life, you have to sacrifice one for the other, at least temporarily. You have to go hard first, aka work hard in your 20s, then you can balance out your life after you've built a strong foundation, aka in your 30s. When I started my business in remodeling and construction, it was the same thing. It was nonstop. I didn't have a concept of weekends or time off. It was work, period. Everyday work. Every day had the phone on me, answering emails, phone calls, whenever they came. Don't care if it was 1 a.m. Don't care if it was 5 a.m. I was up and I was ready. The notifications were on. Nonstop, dude. That's what it took. Constantly driving everywhere, doing estimates, on site, off site, at the office, wherever. Doesn't matter. It was constant work. And now I'm free. So, and every man I've met that has been successful, that has made millions of dollars, says the same exact story, just packaged a little differently. Busted my ass until I made it. And now I'm coasting. That's the difference. Some people just want to coast their way through life, and then they wonder why they can't ever relax, because you're one paycheck away from being fucking broke. Vaughn, thanks. Can't change a tire, but memorized all 200 genders.
It's when you want to get ahead. People are hungrier than ever, and you need to be obsessed over your goals. There's always going to be someone out there who's willing to outwork you. I think the idea of balance is more often than not an excuse for people to take it easy. You need to want to achieve more than you want to breathe. This mentality comes from sport, and I see business as the best sport on the planet, as you just keep getting better with age. I wouldn't let myself forget where I was heading when I built my $1 million businesses. I even said to my girlfriend, who's now the wife, that she needs to accept that I'm selfish with my work and it will always come first. Now,
Do you see that? To the person that said, not a Chad, did you see what he just told his wife? His business, his money comes first. You're second at best. You hear that? Does that sound like a simp to you? By the way, this guy, Mark Tillsbury, has a 1.5 million subs. Is he a beta or are you? I don't know. Is the random guy in the chat the alpha or is this guy?
I'm able to relax this rule a little bit more. However, I set the expectation as I knew I couldn't be distracted by a partner that wasn't fully supportive of my mission. It may sound silly, but one thing that did keep me on track was writing down everything I wanted to change on sticky notes.
Someone said he has 2 kids that are killing it too and raise a successful family.
I then stuck them to my mirror so that I'd see them every morning. This kept me accountable. I had to wake up.
And the obsessive thing, some of us naturally have obsessive personalities. I'm one of those people. I'm either a 0 or a 100 and I can't stop when it comes to anything. Doesn't matter. Sweets, working out, going on a diet, whatever. I have to go balls to the wall all the way, starting a business, whatever it is. Have to. I don't know any other way. I have the addictive personality. That's why I stay away from some super hard ass drugs. Was never interested in trying that stuff in case I get addicted and I can't stop. I recognize that in myself. But what I've seen is that everybody that's ever been very successful has this same exact obsessive nature to them. They really have no off switch. I mean, some people will call them crazy, but it's probably one of the little secret ingredients to success. Because of their obsession, they never stop, they don't give up, and they're always pushing forward, no matter how difficult it gets. And they constantly hammer an idea down until it comes to fruition.
And face the reality of my situation and ask myself why I wasn't moving faster towards these targets. Step 3, become a producer. The truth is, for the world to go round, we need consumers. People need to watch mindless entertainment, buy products, and fall into...
Another idea, again, this is all on point. This guy is giving out gems. The producer idea. It's very important for you to understand that in the society we live in today, you're either consuming or you're producing. You have to switch from somebody that consumes products to somebody that makes them and sells them. You have to sell, whether it's an idea, whether it's a service, whether it's something physical, a good, whatever it is, you have to figure it out and start selling. When you consume, try to consume value-based information, like learning a skill, reading a book, something of that nature. If you're consuming things that teach you something that you can derive value, leverage in your life, and use to produce, you're winning. Now, if you're going to watch Jerry Springer and see Who's Not the Father, you're purely a consumer for entertainment's sake, and you're losing. That's time lost. If you're learning to make stuff, you're learning how to edit a video, learning how to make shorts, learning how to structure your company, whatever it is. Oh, that's Maury? Whatever. See, I don't know which one is Maury and which one was Jerry. One of them was doing Who's Not the Father stuff. That tells you enough about the mentality. Yeah. If you're purely a consumer, you're never going to attain wealth in the world today. That's just the way it is.
To bad debt so that the 1% can reap the rewards. I know it sounds obvious, but if you created something and there was no one to buy it, then you couldn't become rich. It's so easy for us all to fall into consumer mode as it's baked into our DNA. We just want to relax, watch TV and buy the latest products. Some people think you should cut all of the consumer habits out of your life. But to be honest with you, I find the whole monk mode movement a bit unrealistic and cringy. Monk mode consists of basic rules such as at least 10 minutes of daily meditation, no drugs or alcohol, and at least 30 minutes of daily exercise. Honestly, I've never put rules like this on myself. It would have just sucked all the joy out of life. However, I do agree with the principle. I like to think of it as
Yeah, same. Same of what he's saying. If you're using monk mode as a way to cope for your, shortcomings in life, say some guys go on monk mode because they can't get any women, that makes complete sense that you're coping. And you're just going to forever go on monk mode. I'm not dealing with the system anymore. That's coping. Monk mode or self-improvement in general, something akin to monk mode, right? Like a Spartan challenge where you're doing an intense 6-month promise to yourself. That's what I would call it, where you cut out a bunch of hedonism, where you try to rewire your brain, where you try to change all the baked in behaviors you have to something more positive that will give you a better outcome in life. Completely warranted. Absolutely. But if you're some dude talking about, I've been in monk mode for years, that's, again, radicalizing an idea to the point where you are sucking the joy out of life. You're only supposed to do this stuff for a little bit at a time, in a sense of like going hardcore, no alcohol, no drugs, no sex, no this, no that, because you're trying to wean yourself, not even wean yourself, cold turkey off every hedonistic propensity that you have built into you since you were a kid, like video games, like porn, like all this stuff. You're cutting it all cold turkey, making a promise to yourself, for example, like the Spartan Challenge for 6 months, and then you start to reintroduce some of these things in your life, but with absolute control now. They're not things you cope with during stress, during periods where you're maybe feeling down on yourself, or using them as an escape for reality. You're simply consuming them because you like them, not using them as a way to get out of doing what you should be doing.
A sliding scale with producer on one end and consumer on the other. I've always aimed to slide my scale more towards the producer end of the spectrum. When I was younger, I gave up the things I wasn't too worried about, such as parties with people I wasn't that close to. Instead, I'd use that time to work on my product designs. Even if you're able to push your scale just a little bit towards the producer end, then you will get ahead of most people, as they aren't even aware they go through life fully on consumer mode. Step 4. Become better at asking questions. Lots of videos like this will say, find a mentor. However, they're very vague about how to actually do that. The secret lies in the questions you ask. When I was a kid, I loved model aeroplanes. I didn't stop asking my dad about them, so he took me to a model flying club. The members at the club loved my enthusiasm, and one of them, a successful businessman called David, took me under his wing. He would give me tips and tricks to make my models fly even.
Someone said it's ironic because we're all consumers now, except, but no, I'm consuming with you right now. I'm consuming this. I could be offline doing other things in real estate right now, or being at the gym working out.
Better. I'd implement them, and then he'd give me even more the following week. As I got older, his advice slowly shifted into business tips, and I applied the same principles of listening and taking action. Right, there's something I want to clear up. There is such a thing as a bad question. Anyone that says otherwise is mistaken.
Yeah, and then we have people that are listening at the gym right now, at work right now. There's people just working. We got truckers here that are driving currently, just has this playing. So there are people doing stuff while they're listening. Good for you. Yeah, working out. There you go. Working out while watching. Boom. There you go.
Take this question, for example.
Now, if you spent the whole day sitting on your ass, or you woke up late, or you're not doing shit at all, haven't even went to the gym, haven't eaten clean, haven't done shit, and you're putting off stuff, procrastinating, and now you're tuning in here just watching. See, someone's cooking their meal prep, driving right now. There you go. If you're truly not doing shit right now, you need to get off the stream for your own damn good. If you want to keep listening, then you need to go do something right now. Fucking put your earbuds on and go for a walk around the neighborhood. You can't be sitting on your ass if you haven't done anything today. Samuel, currently at work while listening. There you go. Yeah, just don't be reading the chat. Don't be a tard. Just listen.
Can I ask you for some advice? My Instagram messages are full of questions like this, and they never get a reply. Here's why. When you're messaging an extremely busy person, the last thing you want to do is create more work for them. If I was to reply to all those messages, then I'd start hundreds of new conversations. I'd then have to follow up after they replied with their actual question. So I've made a rule to only answer the people that ask clear and concise questions. I suspect a lot of other successful people have similar rules, so the quality of the questions you ask will determine whether or not they help.
Perfect example earlier in the stream that those that are still here. Remember when the guy asked, what side businesses should I do? Better questions. You see what I mean?
Help you. On top of this, if you ask someone for advice and then don't take action, the next time you need advice, they aren't going to waste their time. However, be careful, as there's a lot of fake mentors and gurus out there.
Yep.
So you need to be very careful who you take advice from. Not everyone has your best interests at heart.
Again, true. He's nailing it. Probably already worth millions. Dude doesn't give a fuck. His kids are already grown, apparently doing well. He's got a successful channel. You're just spitting facts of life. Be careful when you see guys giving you advice on shit and then you find out they got a secret wife and they're taking care of that wife's kids, or they're telling you that any woman over a certain age ain't shit. Then you're dating a 40-plus-year-old and taking care of her whole ass kid. Interesting. Or that other dude that was like secretly cucked out to his wife writing articles about that shit. Who was that? Oh my God. Pathetic, dude. It's all here to make money. You just hear it in the way they talk, how they relate their experiences. Imagine that all you've ever had experience with was smashing single moms or beating your own meat. You have no experience with it. And then you finally got a little bit of clout, a little bit of YouTube money, a little bit of visibility, and now you get a little bit of puss too. And now you're an expert. Gross.
Just remember, a fake mentor doesn't have experience in doing what they teach. A real one does. Step 5, become immune to net worth. Look, I'm just going to say it. Net worth means nothing. Bear with me on this one. In my opinion, getting ahead of everyone else isn't just to do with how rich you are. It's about the skills, the knowledge, and the confidence you acquire while you're building your empire. Someone could have bought Shiba Inu in the last crypto bull run and cashed out billions. This doesn't mean they know anything useful and how to actually replicate that success. The exact same goes for lottery winners. They often lose all the money they won very rapidly, as they
Poor is the mentality. Even when you hand poor people millions of dollars, they lose it all.
became rich because of a shortcut, not the skills that they developed. Some industries are much tougher than others. So in many cases, an entrepreneur worth $10 million may actually be a better businessman than a Silicon Valley tech entrepreneur worth $100 million. This is why you really shouldn't be measuring yourself based on net worth. I understand why people do it. It's an easy way to compare success. However, there is much more to being ahead of everyone else than the size of your bank account.
Someone said you should do more business content. Good way to uplift the tribe and potentially avoid a future ban. Yeah, the second channel is going to be all about stuff like that. I have the mobile setup ready, and then we'll be in Eastern Europe by the end of the month, no later. And we're going to be doing a lot of walking and talking streams, a lot of episodes on the second channel where we talk about stuff like that. It's all planned, man. Trust me. The Tribe of Men channel itself will be mostly live streaming, and then anything male related in the culture and conversation, articles, stuff like that. But that second channel is going to be straight self-improvement. Everything I learned along the way, continue to learn, bring other people in that know way more than me in other aspects, other businesses.
Step 6, become less awkward with money. Every dollar that you spend, someone else is earning. Every building you see as you drive down the street, someone else owns. The amount of money out there waiting to be grabbed would shock you. Believing that money is hard to make or that there's a very limited supply is what keeps so many people trapped. I was talking with an author called Daniel Priestley the other day, and he mentioned that his mentor actually made him carry around $1,000 in his pocket when he was younger. This might sound dangerous, but the reason behind it was to make Daniel think of $1,000 as pocket change, not his entire net worth. Becoming more comfortable with money will help you ask for raises, start a side hustle.
It's interesting, this mentality. Someone said 99% of rich dudes like this can't physically defend their wealth if it came down to it. I understand what you're saying, that he doesn't look like he can physically handle himself, but he has enough money to get bodyguards. He has enough money. You got to think of it like this. Even if you're some jacked Giga Chad, it doesn't take much to stick a knife in your abdomen. It doesn't take much for somebody to pull up on you with a red light at a red light and just open fire on your car. Your muscles and your Giga Chad physique and all that shit is nothing. You actually have zero power, and you're the one getting pimped out in society. Guys like this Even though he's got glasses on and he's past his prime and he's already achieved everything, and you're looking at him like, like he ain't got shit on you, can absolutely wipe you from the face of the earth with zero repercussions. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. He has influence. It could destroy you, destroy your business that you're trying to start up, can get your funding denied, can fire you from your job. I mean, dude, power comes in many forms. Physically is just one of them. And even then, if multiple men want to see you fall, it's very easy to catch you on the street, 2-3 guys, end your ass. This whole notion of being like physical Giga Chad, learning how to fight, it's great. Yes, defend yourself. But if someone wants you dead, you're going to die. That's the brutal truth. I think people live in these like false realities that they see from movies where you could defend yourself against like 6 guys. The smart ones don't wear their chains, don't wear their jewelry, don't walk alone. Why do you think Tate has bodyguards? Why do you think he's always with a group of men? He's surrounded with people, his people. He's a kickboxer. Probably beat the shit out of most people that would try him. Still surrounds himself with other men because he knows the reality. It just takes one guy who's got nothing to lose and doesn't give a shit if he lives or dies. And that's your ass.
Or even a full-blown business. When my son started his first videography business, I asked him how much he was going to charge, and he told me $100 per day, and I just laughed. We actually had quite a big argument over that, and maybe my response was a bit harsh. The issue is that he thought that $100 was a lot because he was thinking about how he spends money, not how business operates. Long story short, I convinced him to charge more than $200 per day, and now he takes consultations for more than $5,000 a day, something that he wouldn't have been able to even comprehend 5 years ago. The other thing that happens when you start to realize that money is everywhere is you actually become less afraid of giving, and this is the real secret of getting rich. You need to give far more value to other people than you take in return. If you provide value, then the money will follow. The size of your income will also be determined by the problems you solve. So if you want to make big money, solve big problems. Look, if we go back to my flying days as a pilot, a 1 degree difference in the trajectory of a flight will put the plane in a completely different context.
It's a general truth in life too. The universe rewards those that behave in this manner. So the more you give, the more the universe will return to you. Okay? But the more you try to keep, or I should say, the more you try to take from the universe, the less you get to keep. There's a balancing act here. The best I've done in my life when I was the most selfless, the most willing to part with all my possessions, the most giving. The more I was in that frame of mind, the more was given to me, the more I got. The more greedy I was, or my thinking was, the less I got to keep, the more that was taken from me. Give and you shall receive. It's a weird truth, man, universally.
Continent after a day of flying. The same is true for getting ahead of everyone else. Making a small adjustment now and sticking with it will mean that you end up in a far better place than you were originally heading. Well done for making it this far, and if you did, then leave a comment saying, I'm in the club. So
it was a dope video. Just some life tenets he's talking about. Mark Tillsbury, for those wondering, it's right here. Someone saying that karma theory doesn't track well with evidence of the 1% staying where they are, not giving anything. Yes and no. If you track where the wealth started, someone mentioned McDonald's. Like, who's the founder of McDonald's? Mr. McDonald. What did he start with? How was his business built? Where were the first franchises like? Whatever it's morphed into now, the amalgamation of like a soulless corporation, sure, no shit. It's entrenched now. And dirty money in politics and all that gatekeeping, and of course it's going to stay ahead. But every story of how somebody made it initially is typically them, like he said, solving a problem and being selfless. For me personally, that's how it's worked.